Safa Akram. Now, Safa, it is your turn now. Where are you? You have been absent. So in order to be present, you have to show yourself. You have to tell us, first of all, your opinion about the translation and what you have learned about the different methods of translation. So go ahead, Safa Akram. This is your problem. This is your problem, Safa. If you don't participate, you are absent and you will get a 0. No more excuses, please. So, unmute yourself. You've just interrupted and you are shouting, Doctora, Doctora. What about you now? What happened? Why you are mute? So, ladies, I'm going to start with Zainab Al-Hawra. Safa Akram, why didn't you tell me before that you are going to have your wedding, inshallah? So, where is Zainab Al-Hawra? Okay, Safa, since you are a bride, it's okay for this time only. But you have to be careful and show me something to prove that you are a wedding, that your wedding is 2 days later. Send me some certificate. Okay? Send me something to through via Rusul. No, Zainab Al-Hawra, where is she? Safa Akram.
Yes, Doctor.
Where are you, Zainab? You've read the quote? You wrote the quote? Yes. What is the method of translation adopted in this quote, according to what you have read? فاطمة الزهراء.
دكتور بس بنتي مريضة ما أقدر في المحاضرة.
You will get a 0, Zainab. This is not the first time. Each lecture you are absent. So where is Fatma Zahra? Fatma, I'm repeating the same question. Zero. Bara. Bara. Please, ladies, lower hand. Lower hand, all of you. So, Bara. Where are you, Bara? Zero. We have studied the different method of translation, different methods of translation in the previous lecture, and I've asked you and you didn't answer. So I expected that you will answer today for your new lecture, but it is the same. There is no daily participation except for a few students. Each lecture, they are present and participating. The rest are mute, do nothing, and expect to pass the exam later on. I don't know why or how. Rasha Sadiq.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Habibti. According to what you have learned about these methods, can you explain this quote?
I think it's
Can you analyze
a
it?
semantic method. It's a really good translation.
Yes. Yes.
Doctor, you hear me? Doctor?
Yes, I'm listening, Habibti.
Yes. It's a really good
Yes.
translation because it gave us the meaning, the real meaning of the quote. And I think it's a semantic translation.
How could you prove that this is a semantic? What is the main feature of the semantic method of translation?
Because it's gave the value of the meaning, the semantic translation.
Yes. Rahma. Rahma Faris. رقية علي عبد الحسين.
Yes, doctor.
Yes. Is there any sign of literaliness in this translation?
I don't know. I haven't read.
Yes, thank you, Habibti, for being honest. Ruqayya Majid.
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
I'm repeating the same question. Yes.
Yes, doctor, it's a good translation, and the meaning of the words is clear for us.
Yes.
Yes, and I
What about the
think
methods? Which method is adopted and why?
doctor, it's. Can I say it's semantic?
What are the main features of the semantic method of translation? So you can judge it as a semantic one.
Doctor, it takes more account of the aesthetic value, and it's made.
What do you mean? You are reading now. You are reading the assignment.
Doctor, I need to.
Just like in the exam, you are just copying, you are searching different websites, you are cheating. I've seen different students are just plagiarizing. They do nothing, just copy paste. Now you are reading, Ruqayya. Tell me your own opinion
Doctor, I
about this
haven't read
method.
them.
Since you have read.
My own.
Yes, thank you, Habibti. Habibti.
Doctor,
Dania Saad. Is absent. Omnia Ahmad. Zahra Khalil. Zahra. You've just logged in. Where are you? Zahra Jamil. You don't answer. She is not here. She so it's the zero. Zahra Khalil. زهراء صالح. زهراء صالح.
دكتورة هاي جابت أول البارحة ولادة.
لا مو انتم عندكم ممثلة، ليش ما تبلغون؟ اللي ما موجودة ما بطي عذر، هاي مشكلتها. بشرى علاوي، يعني صار لها 9 أشهر حامل، ما تعرف نفسها تقدر تنطي خبر للممثلة بنات الغياب والمشاركة، هو يعتمد
دكتورة
عليها نجاحها.
الممثلة.
بشرى علاوي.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Bushra. So, you've read the quote, you've seen the translation and analyzed it, right? What is your opinion about it? Which method has been adopted by the translator? Have you read?
No, doctor, sorry.
The answer? Yes, حبيبتي. Thank you for being honest. الخيزران absent, 0. بنين عبد الجليل.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Benin.
Yes.
So you hear the question.
Yeah. I think it's a translation by method word by word because it's just like the word.
What? Which method?
Word by word method.
Road by road?
Word.
Oh, sorry, word for word, you mean. So this is a word for word translation?
Yeah.
What are the main features of this method? What are the main features? A minute before that. Do you find it a good translation or not?
It's understandable for us because it's has
Okay.
an easy meaning. Yeah.
So what are the main features of the word for word translation?
It's a literary one. It's not يعني ما تشيل المعنى بصورة كلية
Say it
وإنما
in
يعني
English. Say it in English.
Yeah.
Say it in English,
Yeah.
Benin.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, doctor. Yeah, it just convey the meaning
Okay,
of
so
this
what are the
word.
main features?
Yeah, it just convey the meaning of this word, and it's not a whole text.
The word for word
Yeah.
translation, is it one of the good methods? Is it one of the good methods for translators? Do you advise
No.
translators to adopt it?
No. No, doctor.
So why you say that this is translated
a
by
good
the
one.
word for word translation? Since you say it's understandable.
Sorry, doctor?
If you say it is an understandable text, I
Yeah.
mean the translation. So how can you say that it is translated by the word for word method?
Yeah, because
So what about
the word is
what about
clear now. Yeah.
yes, complete
Yeah,
your
doctor.
idea.
The word is easy and clear. There is no in idioms or something like that.
You are contradicting yourself, Benin. You are talking about something good in this translation, and you describe the method which is used for this translation by a bad one. I don't know how to combine them together.
No, doctor.
You didn't read.
Yeah. But I say it
You say that.
in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What there is another bad method of translation. Can you name it? Zainab Muhammad. Oh, sorry. Complete, Benin.
I think it's
Yes, Benin.
a literary one.
Literal. You have to differentiate between these two terms,
Yeah.
ladies. I've told you before. Literary, it means adabi.
Yeah,
Literal, harfi. So in a translation, we are concerned with the literal method of translation. Zainab Muhammad, do you consider it a good method of translation? Thank you,
No,
Benin.
doctor, of course, because it's out of context, depend on the word, translate word by word. So it is bad translation.
Yes. So what about this quote? What is your
This
opinion?
quote is a good translation. Yes. I think
Yes.
it is good translation because depend on atmosphere of the text and context. Depend on context, not translate word by
Good.
word.
Yes.
And
So if someone follows the word by word translation, what do you say about this method?
word by word.
Yes.
Yes, doctor. Word or by word or
Do you
literal?
consider it a good method?
No, doctor. Not a good method.
Yes.
And
Yes,
the
thank you, Zainab.
and the I complete.
Yes. Yes, please.
And I think the method that used in this quote is free translation. I think because
Free? No. Free translation, as the name denotes, Zainab, free. Free, what does it mean? What about this method? You have to know the main features of this method. Okay, I'm going to ask your colleagues. Later on, I'll come back to you, Zainab. Thank you. Ladies, what are the main features of the free method of translation? As the name denotes, it's a free. Free of what? Yes. Why it is called the free method of translation? Just like in Arabic, when we say she's a free woman, free of what? متحرر أو متحررة. Why we call them like that? They don't comply to what? They don't comply to rules.
rules, doctor.
ما
There is
تنصاع للقول.
rules, yeah.
Yes, Rawan. So, is it a free?
Yes.
Is it a free method here?
Here in this code, right? No, in this code, no, it is not. It is not a free method, doctor. In my opinion, it is a faithful.
Yes.
It is a faithful because
Yes.
it means a
Let's
balance
complete,
between,
Rawan.
yeah, because it maintains a balance between the literal meaning of the source language and with the target language semantic structure. It takes the context into consideration. So when we say non-suffering, non-defeat, ما قال, he didn't say عرفوا التضحية, عرفوا الهزيمة. No, he said
Yes.
according
Good.
to the context. He
So
said
you mean that
ذاقوا.
the translator didn't imitate? Yes.
Yeah, it is a good
Good.
translation.
So the translator, in your
And he take the
opinion, did not
context.
imitate, did not copy. Yes, did not repeat, did not imitate the same
The
source
same
text
meaning.
in which we have repetitions. عندنا كلش تكرارات. We have none. Yes, non-defeat, non-suffering, non-struggle, non-loss.
But
The translator did not repeat them. Good. So in your opinion,
yes.
did he or she did she do a good job? The translator, I mean?
Yes, it is a good. It is a good. Yeah, and he conveyed the message for those who known all this suffering. They also at the end they found a way to go to pass and live their life. So he conveyed the message.
Yes, good. So he conveyed meaning with something else. I'm going later on to ask you about this something else. Thank you, Rowan. Good for you.
You're welcome, doctor.
Yes, doctor. I think it is also the faithful translation because it among to produce more precise meaning of the source language text. It's a good translation, and I think also it's a faithful translation.
What are the main features of the faithful method of translation?
It's a simple meaning and balance between the literal for a source language to a target language.
Okay.
Yes,
What
doctor.
else?
Doctor, can I take? Sorry, doctor.
A minute, Zainab, حبيبتي. Let Renda finishes her explanation. You want to add something else,
yes, doctor,
Renda?
I finished. No,
yes,
doctor.
thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Zainab Muhammad. Yes, Zainab Muhammad. Most welcome.
Yes, doctor, and the faithful translation also take the context into consideration.
Yes, good. How can you prove it? Which text shows that the translator has taken the contextual meaning into consideration? خاطر السمك الكاري العدل ابو الطيب. So which text? In this quote, there you say that the translator has taken context into consideration. Can you give an example?
Yes, doctor.
From this text, from this quote, I mean. Yes.
We have none are those who have none defeat, none suffering. All these words use none, but the different meaning.
Okay, you mean he did not repeat the same word just like in the original text. Who else? Who was raising her hand before moving to Benin? Hi, Zina. Later on, Zina, I'm going to talk to you. Zahra Abdul Khaliq. Zahra Abdul Khaliq, where are you? You've listened to the opinions of your colleagues. So if you don't participate, you will take a 0. Zahra Aqil.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Habibti. So, do you find any sign of literalness in this text, in this translation of the quote? According to what you have read. Have you read the assignment?
Can you repeat? What, doctor?
Later on I'll ask you. Zahra, later on. Zahra Mahsen.
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
Zahra Mahsen, okay. So, is there any sign of literalness according to what you have read? Have you read?
I'm sorry, Doctor, I didn't read.
Okay. زهراء محمد داود.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, حبيبتي. According to what you have read, is there any sign of literalness? Have you read?
No, Doctor.
Okay. زهراء يحيى. زينب حسن. زينب حسن.
دكتورة.
Yes.
Doctor, I'm sorry for bother you بس تليفوني.
Yes, زهراء. You have taken your chance.
لا دكتور تليفوني يعني شحنه أخاف يطفى مو أسجل غياب لأن شوي شحن ما بيه كهرباء ب12 يلا تيجي.
زينب حسن. زينب محمد غالب participated. زينب مفيد.
Yes, Doctor.
زينب مفيد.
Yes, Doctor.
Yes. Have you read حبيبتي?
No, Doctor, I haven't. Sorry.
Yes. Is there? You haven't? Okay. Zainab Muqdad, have you read? In order not
No.
to waste time, ladies. Have you read Zainab Muqdad? Thank you.
No, Doctor.
Safa. Okay, حبيبتي. Zina, later on I'm going to ask you, be ready. Scenario.
دكتورة سنة
سجا
هم
جمال.
قبل يوم كان عندها ولادة.
Yes, دكتور.
سيناريو؟
يس دكتور.
بنات لازم تبلغون. أنا مثلا بالنسبة لي هاي خلاص أخذت صفر وما عندي علم به، يعني أنا شو أسوي؟ راح أشيك وراكم؟ This is your own responsibility and you have mentors, you have representatives, you have سجا, روان, رانيا, نور الهدى, different representatives. You have to tell them if you have anything to take permission. سجا جمال.
Yes, دكتور.
Yes, Habib. Have you read?
No, دكتور. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Habib. Thank you for being honest. طيبة أحمد. سجا عادل.
Yes دكتور.
سجا. Yes, حبيبتي. Have you read?
Yes. This quote is method communicative way.
No, answer my question. Have you read your assignment before?
Not all.
To be honest.
I read
Not
this not all.
هو إيش قد يعني? How much is it? Is it a complete book? There are few pages, ladies. Say yes or no. Have you read?
No doctor. But I can opinion in this quote.
Okay. Yes, show me. Tell me your opinion. Is there any sign of literalness in this quote according to your own knowledge?
This method of communicative way because there is no literal translation and not word by
No,
word.
I'm asking you, Seja,
Yes.
I'm asking you
Yes,
a
Dr. Ruth.
specific question. Is there any sign of literalness?
No.
Zahra Yahya, I've read your note. Zahra. Yes, how can you prove it?
When we say I and have found their way off to the best. هو يعني قال I found their way وجدوا طريقا بس من
In English.
translation والتمسوا طريقا.
I didn't get your point. Explain it clearly and in an understandable way. Yes, Seja.
When we say you have found their way. In Arabic وجدوا طريقا. When we
What does it mean?
translation.
What about this expression?
وجدوا طريقا. وجد طريقا.
والتمسوا. Yes,
when
it is
translation
translated as
طريقا.
التمسوا. What about it?
Yeah.
What about it?
Is not
Yes, what about it?
there because there is no translation, literal translation.
Here, the translator is using alternatives. We have dealt with literal translation. Literal translation, it means that you are going to give a different meaning. So when we say وجدوا طريقا or التمسوا طريقا, they have the same meaning.
Yeah.
They found their way. Surah Sa'ib.
Yes,
Surah.
doctor.
Yes, have you read?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
Yes. Can you draw a distinction between these different methods? Can you group them into two categories, for instance? Can you
Doctor,
classify them?
I think in this quote is the semantic
No, I'm asking you
translation.
another question. Forget about the quote. Forget about the quote. I've asked you another question. You said you've read the assignment. You've said, yes, I've read. How can you differentiate between these 8 methods by grouping them into 2 categories, depending on what?
Between the any type, doctor?
All of them. How can you classify them? According to what?
In the literal translation.
Thank you, thank you. Sarah, you didn't read. Don't play games. Taima. Taima, where are you?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Habibti. So, answer the same question. How can you classify these 8 methods into 2 groups?
Sorry, doctor, I haven't read.
Have you read?
No.
Okay, Habibti. Okay. Aya Jasim. Sumaya Rahman.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, sorry. Did you hear the question? Have you read? Have you read?
No, doctor.
Okay.
والله كلش مريضة.
Okay, thank you. This is the second lecture, Sumaya. And it takes a few minutes to review it. Your colleagues have been repeating the same information. Ahmad.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Yes, Habibti. Yes, good
Good
morning.
morning. I'm sorry, doctor. I attend the lecture later than
Yeah, it's
nine
okay. I've
minutes
seen you
because
at the beginning, and then you. Yes, yes. I have seen you at the beginning. It's okay. Now, concerning what you have read in this assignment, you have read. That's it. Is it true?
yes, I have read.
Yes. Now, tell me concerning this quote. How can you differentiate if there's any literal method, if there is any word for word? What about the other methods? Which one is used in this quote?
Yes, in my opinion, yes, I see the literal translation because he, in some words, he not choosing the lexical word. He choose the nearest meaning. Just like when we say have found, he translated التمسوا, which is also in the meaning of have found, but it is the nearest, not the lexical meaning. So yes, he used the literal translation here. And also I think yes, it's he used the faithful translation or also because he not translate a word by a word. No, he translated in the whole text. Like he take consideration about the context of the text.
Yes. Why it is called a faithful method? Why it is called like that?
maybe because it
Faithful,
is
faithful
it's
to what?
have
You know the meaning of faithful?
to them. Yes, مخلص أو وفي أو صادق for the meaning.
Yes, or I mean, which meaning?
The meaning of the word.
It is faithful to which meaning?
The meaning of the word that he will translate.
Yes. Tell me more about the main characteristics of this method.
The faithful.
Yes.
Okay, it is. It's just a translation between between the literal meaning and the scientific structures. It is more. We can consider it as it's more reasonable.
Don't read. Don't read.
No, I sure. I swear I read all the material.
Okay,
but
okay, حبيبتي. Okay. So as you see, Omni,
yes, doctor.
as you see, the translator is free to adopt whatever suits him or her. Is it correct to say that? Or he or she is obliged to follow a specific method? Are translators free to adopt the suitable method for them?
Yes, we have a lot of methods, and if he want to follow a free, he should follow the free method of translation, but it's used in literal or in poems so he should follow the rules
Yes,
of the
good.
translation.
And poetry.
He shouldn't translate a word by a word. It will be not considered correct. He should follow the rules. But if he has to follow a free without any rules, he should follow the free method.
Okay, thank you. Where is Zahra Yahya? Zahra Yahya. Write your answer in the chat box quickly right now. Since you don't have, your mic is not working well, write your answer in the chat box right now. How can we classify these methods into two groups, depending on what? Depending on what? Okay, Zahra Yahya. So don't you say that, don't you say it again. قولوا لها, because I know you are here and you have muted yourself. Zina Najm. Zina. Yes, I've told you, Zahra Yahya, I've given you a good chance to write your answer, but you haven't read. This is your problem, Habibti. Dua Thabit, you are writing in the chat box. You may have another chance. Unmute yourself, Dua. Dua, answer right now. How can we classify these groups, these methods into two main groups, depending on what? I am Hamad. You are in? Hi, Muhammad Zaid. Where are you? No, you haven't read. So you have taken a 0. I am Muhammad. Where are you? I've seen you. Zina Najm.
Yes, doctor.
Hi, Zina. Good
Morning,
morning.
sister. Hi, how are you? I hope you're fine.
Habibi. So, concerning this quote, I want you to give me your own opinion about all these methods that you have studied. Which one of them are good for you and which are bad?
Yeah, doctor.
And why?
Honestly, in my mind, it's a free translator because that make the translator it's more free and giving the way or hairstyle in translator. We don't have any like like circumstances to face them. And sometimes when we are translate the culture of country, you can use your words or your country words the normal way to make that uh,
Yes.
repeat. Sorry, doctor, to rephrase that.
Do you have an example
Sorry,
of
doctor,
what you have said? Do you have? Okay. Okay,
yeah,
Zina, good for you. Do you
doctor,
have
I
any
am in my
sign
way
of a
to my doctor,
cultural
so
context in this quote?
can you give me just
So you are
a
really?
few minutes
Okay,
to
okay.
get you because
Today,
really I am
almost
in
all
my
of you
way
are
to my
sick.
doctor right now.
Okay, okay.
No, doctor, just a few minutes.
Okay,
I
Zina.
will do it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, Habibti. And you have said something good. Okay, Omnia Ahmad. Thank you, Habibti.
Yes, doctor. Can I answer
Yes.
about the question?
You are raising your
Yes,
hand?
yes, about the question of specify the methods.
Yes, classify, I mean.
Yes, yes, classify.
Yes.
Yes, we can classify this method into 3 groups. We have the word-by-word translation.
Yes.
And the free translation and the literal translation. And we can distinguish by them because word by word it will translate from the source language to the target language by single word by word in a single way. So it is just to translate the word from its source.
Okay, good for you. Good for you, Omnia. Okay, good. So you have classified these methods into 3 groups. It's okay, good for you.
Yes.
What about you, ladies? Can you classify them into 2? Omnia has given us some clue about this classification. Zina, you are raising your hand?
Yes, doctor. I found that exam.
Okay.
Yes,
The
doctor.
cultural
We can say
context, you mean?
we translate that. Yeah. When we say أكل العنب حبة حبة, we can translate to step by step, isn't? Doctor?
Yes, good.
Isn't right?
So this is a cultural translation of the source text. Yes. Is there any sign of cultural context in this quote? In this quote in particular, I mean. Is there an expression which is used only in Arabic and it is not found in English? Just like أكل العنب حبة حبة, for instance. We have in the original text a step by step, while in the Arabic text, it is translated according to the Arab culture. Do you have such kind of an example in this quote? What do you say, ladies? Do you have a cultural context in this quote? You know the meaning of cultural?
Yes,
It
doctor,
means
we know.
that it is acceptable to use. Yes. What is it, Zina? Which one?
Honestly, doctor, I didn't find it right now. Just a few minutes. Sorry.
Okay. Omnia, is there a cultural example in this text?
No, I didn't find.
Good.
Doctor,
There is
no,
no
there is
cultural.
no culture.
Yes, good for you, Omnia. There is no cultural context in this text. We have only a linguistic context. Yes, Rawan, you want to add something?
No, but there is no cultural.
Yes. When you say there's the cultural context, it means that what is written in the original text have no meaning in the target text, have no equivalent meaning because it is used only in the source text. But in this quote, we don't have such kind of a context. There is no cultural context. All of these expressions are used in Arabic also, but with another stylistic feature. Just like the word to find their way out, for instance. Either you say ليجد طريقا, ليلتمس طريقا, ليعثر على طريق. All of these alternatives denote the same meaning because we have the word find a way in English. There is an equivalence here. هناك تكافؤ بالمعنى. But when you say a cultural context, it means that just like the word owl, you know the meaning of the word owl, boomer. When you describe a teacher, a good teacher in Arabic, you say, in English, he is a real owl. He's just like an owl. So you are praising him. But is it acceptable in Arabic when you describe a good teacher? إنه كالبومة, for instance. Is it acceptable in Arabic? Do you convey the same meaning in Arabic when you say ست خالدة مثل البومة?
No, doctor.
For instance, shall I accept this translation?
In our culture, no, it's not precise. It's just like if you are criticize her.
It is unacceptable. Yes. Good. So in our culture, the owl is not a good, between two brackets, is a good bird. Why? Because it is a bird of bad omen. نتشائم من عنده أو نتطير من عنده. A bird of bad omen. نتشائم, نتطير, if you hear this word. So here, since we have a cultural problem, هنا أنا عندي مشكلة ثقافية. I should not translate faithfully. I have what? I have to translate semantically. I have to take the meaning, or communicatively, I have to take the contextual meaning of this text. So how can you translate it? She is just like an owl. Our teacher is just like an owl, or is an owl. How can you translate it to avoid this cultural problem?
دكتور, can I say إن معلمتنا
زينة أكل العنب حبة حبة.
إن
Yes,
معلمتنا
Sarah.
امرأة
Good.
حكيمة أو
This
إن
is one.
معلمتنا
Good.
حكيمة.
Good for you, Sarah. Good. Good for you. Yes. What else? Another suggestion? Good for you, Sarah. So here, Sarah Matham did not translate literally or word for word. Why? Because she knows very well, or did not translate faithfully, because she knows very well that here we have a cultural problem. We can't convey the same meaning, although we have simple words. The word owl is having a lexical meaning, so it is a simple word. It can be checked in a dictionary. But the dictionary does not help us because we have a cultural problem. She translated meaning. Good for you, Sarah. Can you give me another example, ladies? Sarah Maitham. Okay. Can you give me another example
Can I
concerning
say,
cultural
I
problems?
like her point
Yes,
of
Sarah.
view. She is really owl. I like her point of view. She is really owl.
Yes.
Yes,
So
Prof.
you are giving the same point. Thank you very much. Habibti, thank you very much. Again, ladies, I'm repeating my question. How can we classify these methods? They are 8 in number. They are suggested by Peter Newmark, the translation scholar. He suggested that we have 8 methods of translation. They can be adopted by translators and they are free to adopt whatever suits them on one condition. They should not what? They should not distort meaning. لازم ما يلعبون بالمعنى. They should not manipulate meaning. They should not change meaning. So each one of you has the complete freedom to choose whatever suits you. You can choose word for word, literal translation, although these two methods are among the worst methods. They are criticized. They are condemned by translation scholars because they what? Because they distort. Distort means يشوه. They distort meaning. They don't convey meaning accurately or adequately. They will affect meaning. For instance, when I say she is beating round the bush, she is beating round the bush. I'll write it. So here, I'll minimize it. Okay. How to translate, ladies? What's the meaning? What's the meaning of beat? You know the meaning of the word beat?
ضربة.
I'll beat you
ضربة دكتور.
if you don't answer. روان. يلا, good.
دكتور ضربة هي معناها.
يلا. So I won't beat you. Don't be in panic. So here, she is beating around the bush. You know the meaning of bush?
دفعة دكتور.
No, Zina. This is a horrible mistake. It's a push, push. This is bush. Omnia.
دكتور كانت
What's the
say
meaning of
شجيرة
bush?
أو دغل.
Yes, شجيرة. So what does it mean? إنها تضرب حول الشجرة or الشجيرة, right? Can you give me another suggestion? If I translate it literally,
دكتور كان say
it
هي
is
تسير حول الشجرة أو جانب الشجرة.
إنها تضرب هي okay هي تسير جانب الشجرة. By the way, it's not جانب. جنب.
حول.
Yes. جنب or حول the same. What do you say, ladies? Does it make sense? تضرب حول الحشائش.
No
and then
doctor,
she
there
says
doesn't have sense.
تضرب. Yes, doesn't have sense, doesn't make sense. What does it mean? تضرب حول الشجرة. For instance, a few minutes ago, when I've asked some of you, have you read, and she is saying, and she is explaining something else. I've asked her a specific question, and she gave me another answer. I may tell her, don't beat around the bush. Don't beat around the bush. So when I say don't beat around the bush, Am I meaning that لا تضربين حول شجرة? Which شجرة? Am I talking about a specific tree? So what's the
No,
meaning
doctor, it's
of
an
this
idiom.
text? We are translating literally. Yes, Unia?
Doctor, it is idiom. That means to talk directly. Don't.
Good. So this is an idiom. This is an idiom. It cannot. Okay, this is an idiom. It cannot be translated literally like that. So literal translation will produce a funny or unacceptable meaning. Zahra Aqil.
Doctor, can we say هي تغلب على الأدغال? Translation.
تغلب?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Ladies, all of these renditions, all of these suggestions, and I think that you have more, they are inaccurate, inadequate, because the adequate meaning of this text is وتدور. معناه شنو؟ تراوغ. See the huge difference between these two meanings? You see, ladies, this is a horrible mistake. When you adopt the literal translation, you will get what? You will get a mistaken meaning. You won't get an adequate meaning. So you have to be careful. Sometimes you are not satisfied with the lexical meaning, as I've told you before. You have to search for the meaning, for the hidden meaning, for the contextual meaning of the text. That's why we have different methods. The worst of these methods is the word for word and literal translation, because they what? They produce such kind of nonsense meaning. This is literal. Why? Because I'm a presenting.
دكتور
I'm a present. Yes.
يعني هسه هي معناها إنها مراوغة.
Yes, she تلف وتدور. Sometimes when, just like a few minutes ago, as I told you, some students didn't read their assignment, but they don't say honestly that I didn't read. She is trying to say something. She is trying to distract my attention. She is trying to prove that she has read, but she is what? She is beating around the bush. She is تلف وتدور. She is not giving the exact answer. So to beat around the bush, it means that يلف ويدور. It has nothing to do with the الشجرة, الحشائش, الأدغال. All of these alternatives, they denote literal meaning. That's why I've told you, I'll still repeat saying that literal translation is the worst, is the riskiest also, because sometimes you give a very different meaning from which is intended in the original text. And as you remember, we have taken different types of definitions of translation. Remember at the beginning of the year, we've said that some of them, especially Peter Newmark, define translation as the process by which meaning is conveyed from the source language into the target language by taking the intention of the author into consideration. You know the meaning of intention. القصد, قصد المؤلف. What did he intend when he or she has written this text? So when I say she is beating around the bush, I have a certain intention عندي قصد معين in this text. So you as translators, you have to be careful. Don't translate literally. You have to what? You have to look for the intention of the writer by checking what? By checking context. This is your job. Sometimes when you translate literally and you don't get an adequate meaning, you have to search the dictionary again to see if this text is an idiom or not. This is your job as a translators. But novice translators and beginners, novice and beginners having the same meaning. إنهم مبتدئين. Novice translators, they just convey the external meaning of the words, the lexical meaning of the words. رأسا تعطينا المعنى الموجود بالقاموس. He does not pay attention to the contextual meaning. Okay? So this is the core of these methods. They can be grouped, they can be classified according to their distinction or direction. Some of them depend on the source language, just like the literal, the word for word, the faithful method. All of these methods concentrate on the source text. They try to imitate it. They don't pay attention to the target text. They follow the rules or the norms of the source text. That's why they are called source text oriented. يعني وجهتها نص الأصل تتأثر. They try to imitate it. They try to repeat what is said in the original text. While in this quote, we don't have this orientation. As you see, the translator did not pay attention to the original text. Just like the word is repeated for about four times, but the translator did not repeat it the same way. He or she has used different terms to convey meaning. So the translator is not adopting a faithful translation. He or she has followed the communicative method of translation. Is it clear to you now? So I also presenting in order to stop recording.